wrapping things up here. Final thoughts on today's loss.
Yeah. It was a tough one, and I want to say like we're talking a bunch of trash and stuff like that with Dylan and a lot of people in here are upset, but listen, we love the back and forth. This is part of it, right? This is pain we all suffer together. I still love this team. I still want this team to do really well. I'm very interested to see what they do going forward, right? Whether they do Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, or whatever. I'm interested to see what happens in the offseason. What changes are going to be made? You're looking at an entire DB room that's going to be turned over. You know what I mean? So there's a lot here to be interested in, if not the on the field action, which has been really tough to watch. But going forward, they just got to take it one game at a time, man. They have to going forward. They have to beat the teams that they are clearly better than. They need to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, no question. They cannot let Trevor Lawrence come out and Colt McCoy them. You know what I mean? Maybe they don't get it against the Rams, but Jacksonville and they play Houston this year. Those are infinitely winnable games. And the teams that are close to your level, man, you got to come out, and you got to come out with a fire each and every week. This team has come out with uneven energy and uneven performances, and consistency is going to be key. So if that doesn't happen, especially on the defensive side of the ball, we're going to see a lot of turnover this offseason for sure.
Yeah. And what's unfortunate too is that such a simple fix, and maybe I should say switch, would give this team so much extra leeway with the fans. And you guys all know what I'm talking about. Making the switch under center. Even if Jimmy isn't the reason they lost today, he clearly wasn't enough for them to win.
Right. And Jimmy didn't elevate.
No, he did maybe above par, but not enough to where you were like, oh my God, Jimmy.
He was above average for Jimmy. He was still lacing balls all over the yard.
Statistically.
Look at the great, Kittle made a great catch in the end zone. BA made a great catch in the end zone. Juszczyk made that fantastic catch on the sideline. You're talking about guys having to go above and beyond to catch these balls that should be hitting them in the hands and in stride or whatever.
Yep.
I know Debo had another drop today, but that was one where it's high on a slant. You got to put that in his hands out in front of him so that he can run. So Jimmy wasn't the reason they lost today, but make no mistake, Jimmy wasn't exactly good today.
No, exactly. So if you make the switch to Trey Lance, so many fans, I'd say, I'm not even being, facetious. I'd say 90% of the fans would be willing to give this coaching staff another year's time leeway because they understand.
That's every coach with that's the MO, right? A struggling team, the coach and the GM draft a rookie quarterback, and it automatically adds a year to what you're able to do,
Yeah. So they could make that switch, and I think they will. I think, honestly, unfortunately, they're going to wait until they're out of playoff contention to then make the switch. Yeah. But again, and I've talked about it before, what scares me is Jimmy just missing the team just missing the playoffs. Jimmy going okay, typical Jimmy, and then next season we go into it as, well, maybe we still stick with Jimmy. Let Trey sit a little longer.
No, they're not going to do that. I guarantee you, they're not going to do that. They're too pot committed to Trey Lance to do that.
I hope not.
I 100% guarantee you they will not do that.
Yeah, but I want to see Trey.
Yeah.
Ty Anderson said, I want Trey as my next guy, but man, if Kittle and Ayuk don't fumble, Jimmy probably has the 49ers up 14-7 going into the second quarter. Probably, but the defense was still switch cheese, and they weren't giving up or stopping anyone, unfortunately.
Right, and it's not. I know this is hard for a lot of people to grasp because everybody's in the moment, and it's hard to see the horizon. Right, we're all very instant gratification type people. Playing Trey Lance now is not about this year; it's about next year, when you can shore up some of those weaknesses. When Jimmy's $27 million comes off the books. When the cap, which was hurt by COVID, goes back up to where it was supposed to be ahead of time. And instead of being $4 million under the cap, now you're $40 million under the cap because of two moves, the cap going up and Jimmy being gone. And now all of a sudden you can start supplementing the roster. And Trey has that experience that Trevor Lawrence is getting this year, that Zach Wilson was getting this year, that Mac Jones is getting this year, where you're adjusting to the speed of the game so that you come into 2022 not having to learn how to play to the speed of the NFL game. You just need to develop yourself and develop your own talents and not be so deer in the headlights. So this is
Yep.
about getting Lance experience so that next year he can hit the ground running and be a franchise quarterback right away. That's what that's about. It's not necessarily about, well, Lance would have only got us this many points today.
Yeah.
That's the immediacy thing going on, but it's not the long-term thing,
No, and let me just add that we'll close these out here, Matt. How long has Jordan Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers, a
Right. And hasn't learned
Hall
a
of
damn
Fame
thing. He
quarterback?
still looks terrible.
Yes, exactly. So sitting doesn't automatically equal success. If not,
Right.
there would be a guaranteed minimum redshirt year for all quarterbacks if coaches
Right.
knew that was the formula. It doesn't
Well,
automatically
here's the
equate
thing. Everybody
success.
points out the Mahomes thing. Mahomes had a couple of really fantastic years, but remember how much talent he had. He went to a team that was like a legitimate like playoff team that had
Yeah,
legitimate weapons, Tyreek Hill and like all those guys. But now look, as you see some of the pieces are either injured or aren't there, or Patrick Mahomes' salary is starting to take away from some of that. You're starting to see Patrick Mahomes slip,
yeah,
because again, there wasn't enough dev time, right? I think it would have been better for him to get a lot of these mistakes out early rather than getting immediate success and kind of like it's every young person's thing, right? I got something immediately, so I don't have to work on it. You
yep,
know,
yep.
I'm not
Exactly.
saying that he doesn't work, but you can see the holes in his game, stuff that he got away with in year one and year two. He's not getting away with anymore,
Yep.
and he's looked pretty bad. He leads the league in interceptions.